it's Hollie and Dave here, and we're at Paris Games
Dream
Week.
Team. Dream Team!
That was so cheesy. Anyway, you guys can't see it. Nathan is behind the camera shaking his head. He's really upset with us. We have been behind closed doors at Paris Games Week to see some more of Dreams, and we're going to attempt to explain.
I don't know how we're going to do it.
Not able to. But we're going to have a go, and I've got a whole list of things here, because you know I like to take notes and make lists.
Yeah.
We're going to go, aren't we?
Yeah, so at the conference they showed off kind of playing the game with creations that are, I guess, pre-made or made by other people. It was sort of playing through kind of levels or dreams that someone else had made, and you were using their creations in the game, and that's great, and that's one part of it. Behind the closed doors, we saw the thing I think that everyone's most intrigued about, which was the creating.
Like how you actually made. So we'll start with campaign. There will be like a campaign, you know, like a Little Big Planet. It's all about creating, but yeah, like you could do like a story-esque thing.
There's going to be a story that's going to introduce you to how the game works and what you can do in it, I guess.
So you're not just going to open up the game and it's just going to be this like, now create a living, breathing world full of creatures and monsters with a musical background.
It's not just a blank page and it's not just a set of tools. There's going to be a story and a
campaign.
game.
A game. But they have said, unlike Little Big Planet, where the create and play were all separate, so if you've played LBP, you sort of know that when you go in, it's like, what do you want to do today? Do you want to play it? Do you want to create something? Or they said this is just totally like seamless. Like you could be playing campaign and then everything could just have trees coming out of it.
Exactly, and they used that example at the end of they used in the conference actually, where they were playing around like with cakes and stuff, and someone was like platforming, and someone else at the same time was creating stuff and putting it in the world. It's like it's not any one thing. It's like you're kind of doing all of them all the time.
Yeah, and what was really cute when we first started, they had the PlayStation camera set up.
Yes.
Now, you can track the character's movement, and it will track without the camera, so if you don't have a PlayStation camera, it's fine. But as he was talking, the PlayStation camera was tracking his mouth.
Yeah.
And like the little creature that you were, your little avatar thing, really. What do they call them? Imp?
Yes, imps, that's right, yeah.
Was talking as well.
Yeah, so
and it was just so cute.
So it was the sound, it was hearing the sound of your voice, and it was making the imp talk as well. And I assume that would work with the headset as well. And as they showed in the conference, you know, you can draw a mouth. And on the touchpad, so it could be happy or sad or angry or crazy or whatever, and that goes into the game. It's really, really mad. And they were saying how fun that's going to be with online multiplayer, like changing the emotion, I guess, of your imp as you're talking.
They did, however, use PlayStation Move when we were seeing the behind closed doors demo. You might remember, anyone who really does watch our conferences, remember the E3 many years ago where they originally showed Dreams, and it was like puppets dancing using Move controllers.
Yeah.
So this is Move compatible. Don't want to use it, it's fine. Use the DualShock, it all still works. But he did this thing where he like knocked the two Move controllers together, and that was the kind of the thing for mirroring. So then whatever was in the one hand was then now mirrored on the other side.
Yeah.
And it was just really intuitive, like a quick and then off you went.
So this is like the create thing now. So they kind of went like, here's just like, let's go to just this blank place. We'll start with nothing, and we'll just show you the tools. And so it was just like a sort of blank area, and he was using the Move motion controllers, but you can just use the DualShock, as Holly just said. And he was just kind of using tools like just opening like a real small little kind of tool set.
Almost like a really beautiful, very simple, but very deep still Photoshop.
Yeah.
Without that making it sound scary, because it didn't look scary.
Yeah, it was like that. It's like a sort of like a 3D modeling thing, but that makes it sound scary. It's like it's so intuitive, and just they were talking about clay, and I think you would have seen that before. Like if you've seen the trailers, you will think clay, and that's very much it. You start with like a lump of clay, and you can choose what kind of shape that is, and then you can make that clay interact with other bits of clay to model it. You can take stuff away. You have tools to like scoop out bits.
Which is how like the panda that we saw in the demo, like that's how her eyes were made. So they'd like use this bit like to dig out the eyes holes, and they put like eyes in it then that's how it looked like it had like something built into it.
It's really, really hard to explain, sadly, and you have to see it. But I think most importantly is just to take away that like it's absolutely true. Like what they're saying is everything that you see in those trailers has been made in the game by somebody, and the way that it's done, they talk about it like a performance. Like they say, you know, if you see someone animating in the real world or someone designing stuff, it's not a particularly sort of visually appealing process. It's quite long and intricate, and they're using these really difficult programs. Whereas they want it to be like a performance, like you see an artist painting. That's very visually appealing. You see you hear a musician playing like that's or practicing, and that's what they want it to be like, and that's what it was like. Like you could just see like the creativity happening on the screen, the imagination just taking over, and things like. It was great because he kind of started out with no real direction, and it just turned into this.
Yeah, he was like, we're going to recreate the panda, and he's like, now I'm going to give the panda a hat, and then the hat turned into like a beret.
I'm going to give it a village,
and now it's going to be a garden.
Grass, and then there was a tree, and it's absolutely mad, but brilliant.
And people can watch you doing this. So if you're like in sculpting mode, people can just sit and watch you create. So let's say you have a favorite artist who you watch. And you know they go on Twitch and they go on YouTube and they do their drawings live for you to watch. They could be in Dreams and you could be watching your favorite artist create something in Dreams, which is mad. And it uses solidity and not polygons. Now, we can't really explain it. I'm not that technically minded. There is a video on the Media Molecule YouTube channel where like the lead technical guy goes, and I mean so far down that rabbit hole. But because it doesn't use polygons, the memory usage is so small in comparison that everything is so quick, and people can watch you. And if they're using a character of yours, which they can do, which I'll go into in a bit, they could then be updating or creating onto that character, and it's updating while you're using it because there's such a low memory usage. So it's also instant and also beautiful, and that's how you can have multiples. You know, with Little Big Planet, there was a limit, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You couldn't. Because they're using solidity and not polygons.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it is, and it looks brilliant. I love the kind of look of it, the texture of it. It's very sort of, it is like clay, which I just think is great for a game, like a new kind of a thing.
Also, you can follow people. So, for example, again, favorite artist, you find a guy you really, or a girl, you really like their creations. You can follow them as a person, and then you can go into your, like, you get your controller up and you get the UI up, and you can go into that, like, search bit, and you can find all the things they've created, pull them, and then put them into your creations, and then continue to model and play with them if you want to.
Yeah.
Or you can search by items. You could search for tree. What they've sort of said is that can be a bit difficult because what you might see or adapt into a tree or foliage may not be its original intended purpose.
I think that's it. I think what they're trying to get you to do is like think outside of the box a bit and use things in different ways, and like you can totally just use some trees if you want, but they were saying like it's great. They noticed in Little Big Planet people had favorite people that they followed rather than I want to play this kind of level. They would go and see what's my favorite level designer made, and they say it's the same with they want to make with this sort of the creations is what's my favorite artist made and how can I use it.
Characters are really big. They really hammered that home. The characters, they're really much alive. You can create your own, and you'll start with like a wooden artist
it's
doll.
like an artist mannequin, isn't it? Just like that sort of formless
or
human
you can
shape.
pick something that someone's already created and then add to that again.
And it's instantly alive, isn't it? They said it instantly like you could have it completely blank if you want, and it moves
alive.
and reacts to you and it follows you and you can inhabit it.
You can add animations as well. It's not just about sculpting something. You can animate it. So at one point we were watching, they were making trees or a thing they had made into a tree, so blow in the wind. There's a thing called Titan Lucen. So they had these like circle rings, so 3D kind of donuts, and they placed them, stacked them all on top of each other. So they looked quite tight. They didn't really make sense. And then he sort of used the Lucen tool, and they blurred into what was a beautiful tree trunk. And he had made a tree by just stacking these like loops on top of each other.
Yeah.
And it's just one of these features they put in, so it felt so simple and easy, and you just played with it until it looked how you wanted it to look.
And using the Move motion controllers, it was like sort of. It was like something from the future. I don't know how to describe it. It was like something from Star Trek.
It looks very
it was
intuitive.
Like conducting art. It was so amazing.
But it looked just fun to play with and very relaxed, and it didn't look like there was a lot to think about or stressful. He was very much just sort of sitting back and, very much with a magic wand that can, just making magic happen.
They also said there's logic in the game as well. Like there's physics and things have weight and they react in certain ways.
So they said with weight there'll be some things it's too heavy for your imp, so you'll have to get a friend to play with you so that your two imps could drag it, which I thought was really cool. So no one builds engines quite like Media Molecule, because look at Tearaway's engine. I
know, it's mental. But the idea being like, in Little Big Planet where you'd see people make complete mini games, they've got all that in Dreams, and it's going to be Little Big Planet, but times a million.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, I think. Very final thing, the beta is coming in early 2016. They've said that the story campaign stuff will not be done before the beta, so that people have a chance to do that themselves. So if you're excited for that, try and get on the beta, because they really do want the community to shape what Dreams is going to be when it finally comes out, which I think is really what Media Molecule, that's what they are. They just give us the tools and we can create whatever we want with it.
We're going to run with it, yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Guys, thank you so much. That's us trying to explain a little bit more about Dreams, an incredibly intuitive piece of creative technology for Media Molecule. You guys can stay tuned to the YouTube channel. There's loads more coming up. And if you're in one of the lucky countries, download the app on PlayStation 4 and watch all our videos on your console.